Wait for the live stream. There we go. Good evening. Welcome to the Aurora Committee of Adjustment meeting. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work is the traditional and treaty number 20 territories of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continue to this day. As the closest First Nation to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and the waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and the environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and the Chippewas, recognized through Treaty number 13, as well as the William Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for the last few centuries and now our collective past brought us here where we are today will help us walk through together into a better future. I will start by introducing the committee members and staff. I am the committee acting chair, Daniel Lajeunesse, and the remaining members are as follow. Linda Duringer and David Mango are here today. The secretary treasurer is Peter Fan. The planner is Sean LaPena. And the council committee coordinator is Lindy Botas. Marco is not present. The public meeting is being held by audio and video recording. It is also being conducted virtually through the use of Zoom technology. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information are being recorded according to the Municipal and Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including our town's website. Questions about this collection should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the Town of Aurora website and through staff at the Town Planning Department. Should you wish to receive notifications of any of the decisions of tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form available through town staff. Owners and agents will automatically be notified. For each application that will be considered here tonight, the following process will occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the application, and then the applicant or agent will be given the opportunity to make a presentation. However, one is not required. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or let the application proceed on the merits of the application as received. Presentations and duplications are limited. Presentations and deputations are limited to 5 minutes as much as possible. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will invite members of the public who have interest in the application to come forward and address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and must provide this information to the secretary treasurer. Should you wish to obtain a copy of the notice of decision, please complete the application form available through the secretary treasurer. Members of the public are reminded that text comments are not permitted during the meeting and that they will not be noted in any manner or at any time. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of a motion, no further presentations shall be made. If you require any technical assistance for your presentation, please let me know. If you wish to speak and are currently following this meeting on YouTube feed, you will need to turn this feed off and join the live meeting, as there is a slight lag between the YouTube and the live stream. Please ensure that all questions and/or comments are directed through me as the chair, and if relevant, I will request the appropriate person to respond. It should be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any question or comment should the committee feel that that is appropriate. We will now begin tonight's agenda. So the first motion, or the first item, is to approve the agenda. I will ask one of my colleagues to please bring a motion forward to approve the agenda. Linda, please go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, I move that the agenda as circulated by the secretary treasurer be approved.
Do I have a
December
seconder?
8th, 2022.
Oh, yes, thank you. Do I have a seconder, David? Perfect, thank you. The motion carries. Second, I'd like to make sure that there are I'd like to confirm if there are any declarations of pecuniary interest. As I see my colleagues shaking no, and I appreciate the hard word for a French guy to say, so thank you for supporting me there. Next, I'd like to move on to accepting of the minutes of last month's Committee of Adjustment meeting. I require a mover. Is there somebody who wishes to bring a motion forward to approve the minutes as circulated? Please, David, go ahead. You are muted, David. Thank you.
Through the chair, I move that the minutes from meeting number 22-11 be adopted as circulated. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda, will you second? Perfect. Thank you. Motion carries. All right. It is time to move to the presentation of applications. I have in front of me two applications with a motion to defer, so I will address those individually. The first one to be addressed as 6.1 in our agenda is in regards to MV-2022-40 for 3 Jarvis Avenue by Hilsentiger. There has been a request to defer this application to a later date. I would like to see if one of my colleagues would bring a motion forward to defer. Perfect. Linda, please go ahead.
I move that the motion to defer MV 2022-43 Jarvis Avenue be moved
At their request?
at their request.
Perfect. Thank you. David, will you second? Perfect. So that presentation or that application will be deferred to a later date. We now have a second application that we need to provide or perform a similar motion. That is for minor variance 2022-41 for 5 Corbett Crescent by Cohen. This application has also been requested to be deferred to a later date. Can I have a motion to defer, please? David, please go ahead.
Through the chair, I move that the application be deferred at the request of the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda, will you second? Perfect. Thank you. That motion carries as well. So 6.1 and 6.2 have been deferred to a later date. We will now move to 6.3, which is minor variance 2022-39 for 38 Center Street. I'm just going to open up the appropriate document. Thank you. Okay, so this application is, as stated, is application MV-2022-39. The applicant is not stated. Oh, yes, is Stefan Armez, and the document was, or the planner was, Shana Pena. So this applicant is requesting relief from the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the development of a 1-story single vehicle detached garage from a gross floor area from approximately 3,000 square feet to 28 square meters and a building height of 13 feet or 3.84 meters. The garage is proposed to be constructed atop of the existing driveway on the property and along the west side property line. The proposed variant is as follows: the following relief from the requirements of the town's zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended is requested. Section 7.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.2 meters. The applicant is proposing a detached garage, which is 0.28 meters to the interior sideline property line. The main items of this minor variance include comments from the planning, as it relates to the proposed variance, meaning the general intent and purpose of the official plan, In short, the planning staff maintain that the general intent fits the intent of the official plan. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I realized that was cyclical. That the main comment is that the planning staff are asserting that this meets the general intent of the official plan. B, the proposed variance meets the intent, the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. There are comments regarding the size of the setbacks. The main comment being that there is a combined separation distance between the two buildings on each property at its closest point of 2.78 meters, thus resulting in an adequate separation distance between the two buildings as the bylaw intends. As a result, the town are supportive that this does meet the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. C, the variance is considered desirable for the appropriate development of use of the land. With various comments, the town engineering service division is looking to confirm that the existing drainage patterns will be maintained. This is their main concern. In addition to this, they are also looking into confirm that the proposed site works will not result in any adverse impact on neighboring properties. As such, engineering services have included conditions of approval, which I'll get to later, requiring the owner to submit a detailed lot grading and drainage plan, including an erosion and sediment control measures, and as well as a section plan confirming the proposed garage overhang and gutter in relation to the side yard property line. These are outlined in the requirements, which I will outline a little bit later as well. The variance is considered to be, D, the variance is considered to be minor in nature. We talked about the size of the minor variance, but based on this, the staff considers the variance to be minor in nature. Additional comments. There has been comments from engineering services alluded to earlier, but in short, they're requesting a detailed lot grading and drainage plan, including erosion and sediment control measures in accordance to the town's grading criteria, that those will be maintained for review information. Also that they are another one of their comments is it appears that the proposed garage overhang and gutter encroach on the neighbor's property. They are requesting a section plan to ensure that that is not the case. Building division has no comments. The accessibility advisor, no comments. Traffic advisor, no comments. Operation Services Park, they had the following comment that the application does not reference impact to existing trees. However, there are trees situated on the subject property, adjacent property, that may require removal and or may be impacted by excavation or disturbance due to construction of said garage. In view of the above, staff recommend that the committee imposes conditions on this application as approved. Please, so those are in Appendix A, which I will outline shortly. Operation Service Public Works, no comments. The Central York Fire Services, no comments. The Regional Municipality of York, no comments. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, no comments, but do request that they collect the LSRCA review fee. Electra Utilities, no comment, or sorry, there is a comment. I'm trying to outline the main items of the of this. However, the main issue being that that the review showed that there does not imply any approval of the project or the plan. All proposed billboard signs and other structure associated with the project, standard requirements from the Electra Utilities. Hydro One has no comments. Public correspondence, one written submission has been received at the time of writing of this report. The following is its summary. A neighboring resident provided a written submission stating that they are satisfied with the proposed variance and have no comments. The main item to move forward to is the attachments, specifically Appendix A, which outlines 9 main requirements in order to move this forward. The first one, in short, is a requirement for a sustainability that the property or the work be done in a sustainably conforming with the plan attached to Appendix B. Second point is the owner will provide a detailed lot grading and drainage plan, which I discussed earlier, that the owner provide a section plan showing the proposed garage overhang issue there with the neighbor. 4, that the owner may require to provide an evaluation report. And 5, an additional report that shall include a schedule of monitoring the ongoing site work. 6, that the owner may be required to provide vegetation compensation and replanting. 7, that the owner shall agree to comply with the Aurora Tree Permit bylaw number 5850-16. Point 8, that the owner shall agree to provide financial securities. And 9 being that they will comply with the terms and conditions in the letter. All right. I tried to go through that as diligently, but as respectfully as possible. So hopefully I did outline all the necessary comments. If there is something we can address later. So now I'd like to move to the applicant, owner, or agent. I see that we have the owner and applicant architect on the docket. Is that correct?
Good evening,
Yes,
Mr.
I
Chair.
see. Good evening, Steve and wife. Perfect. And then I also see Ehsan Jahani. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. I believe, Mr. Ehsan, you are the architect of the property. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, you did a great job. That's a great pronunciation of my name, by the way.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. With the two present, is there any of you two who wish to make a presentation here today?
Through the chair, with your permission, Mr. Chair, we do have just a few comments to make, and then we'll hand it over to Mr. Jahani if there are any technical issues that you'd like to review. My wife, Rebecca, and I will also be here for any questions you may have.
Rebecca, perfect, thank you. Yes, as you go forward, so can you please introduce yourself with your address and, well, your full address, and we can proceed from there on.
Sure, certainly. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, my name is Stephen Arms, along with my wife, Rebecca Murdoch. We're the owner occupants of 78 Center Street here in Aurora. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, town staff, ladies and gentlemen, we moved to this house about 7.5 years ago. It's a 160-year-old home. This is our forever home. And one of the great things about the house and the area is so much character. One of the drawbacks is storage is a real problem in these older homes. And so we're really looking just to add a garage, very similar to the garage that's on 82 Center Street, immediately to our east, and have the position that we want to put it on the driveway there, on that nice flat level gravel driveway, and have it provide additional storage for us, but also, as you know, Mr. Chair, 74 Center Street has been before the committee on numerous occasions looking to be redeveloped. By putting our garage in that position, it will allow us to continue to have privacy for our swimming pool and backyard for our family. And that is one of the reasons why we positioned it where we did. There will be no trees impacted by this. The large pine tree that everyone knows is so near and dear to our hearts here on Center Street is about 6 meters away. The town tree preservation guidelines say for a tree that size, there can be no disturbance in 4.5 meters. And so we're certainly being very careful of that. And Mr. Jahani, in his plans, can also address the fact that we're going to be doing a pad that also does not disrupt an awful lot when it comes to the water table and so on. There are a few rather dilapidated cedars that may be mildly impacted, and I do have a picture of them that was also sent to Mr. LaPena as well. They're about somewhere between 30 and 50 years old, have not been very well cared for, and need some pruning And we may in fact have to take one or two of those out, but that's really the only vegetation impact in the entire area on it. One of the things that I'd just like to point out as well is every application from 74 Center Street going back multiple years has mentioned that those cedars are in rough shape. So it should come no surprise that we may end up losing one or two of them down the line as we go. With regards to the existing storage, if I can offer just one correction, the report says that there are 3 sheds on the property. There are actually only 2. There's a garden storage shed at the very back, what would be the northwest corner. And then there's the pool shed that's located at the very back of the existing driveway. That contains all of the pool mechanical equipment and provides a little bit of storage. But those are the two sheds on the property. Obviously, we're looking forward to being able to have a lot of storage, a workshop, maybe even a car in the garage, but I'm not going to keep my fingers crossed on that one. And certainly believe that we're being very sensitive to the area. As you know, the committee knows we're big proponents of the heritage area. And as I said, have made this our forever home. And Mr. Jahani, I think, has done an excellent job in producing a plan that's very, very appropriate for the area. And with that, thank you very much. We appreciate your attention this evening.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jahani, is there something you wish to add to that presentation at this time?
No, Mr. Chair, I guess the owner was actually stated all the details that need to be discussed. I don't have any presentation at this moment to show up because it was a very simple development, just a very tiny setback we're going for the Committee of Adjustment for. So I don't think there's any things that need to be clarified. The only 2 things that it's a little bit was a surprise for myself is the actually one of them that the owner was he was actually mentioned about those seats and they're not even trees down there. So, and the second thing is actually it's about the erosions and sediment control plan, and that was requested, and I saw that on the conditions down there. This is a very, very flat site, and it's very, very basically minor slope down there. So I don't think we do have any problem, even on an existing right now. And what we are proposing, it's actually a kind of a slab on a grade for this garage. So I don't think we'll be needing those kind of reports, because I strongly believe that these are going to put a lot of cost on my client shoulders at this time, which is not needed, because even I'm dealing with some more complex projects that they don't require this kind of, let's say, report. So these were the 2 items that it was really a kind of surprise for me that are there in a condition. I just want to mention that here. That I think the rest, Steve was mentioned all the things, and there's nothing to add on that. And as I said, I don't need to really present something in details at this moment in terms of graphical presentations.
So just for point of clarity, before I cede to my colleagues, so you've mentioned some surprise in the conditions, and you have noted all 9 conditions. Do you wish to push back on any of those, or are you simply going to note that you have an objection but move forward? It's important for us to understand if there's anything here that we need to address. Or do we approve or move forward with the requirements and simply deal with the project as a whole?
So our request is to actually generally just reevaluate the site if there's need a kind of visit from the town, from the site, to see that honestly this is a very, very flat site, and we don't think that we need some basically erosion and sediment control plan for this, because preparing that kind of study is going to take about a couple of months, and it's going to be costly for my clients, and I don't think it's needed for minor projects like this.
So that would be item 2. Okay, noted. We'll note it and address it, whether one of my colleagues or myself. But that is noted. Is there any other of these requirements that you would like to
discuss? The other one, I think is the arborist the arborist that you were asked for, because as Steve was mentioned, that there's not really huge. This development is not going to impact any trees in a property. So, and as I said, one of my surprises was that why we do need a kind of arborist basically report for that.
Okay, I do know that's fairly standard, but I will it will be noted and we can address that as well. Okay.
Yes.
So if I am not mistaken, those are your comments. So I will move to either Linda or David if you wish to ask questions of the applicants.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. David, please go ahead.
Through the chair, I didn't have comments, but now I'm going to comment because of the comments from Mr. Hajani. So I totally disagree with you of you saying that you don't need the erosion sediment control for this site because it's flat. This site is close to the other neighbor and you'll be doing all those construction works. Maybe raining or whatever, there will be some sediments or dust, whatever, moving to the neighboring property. So you need those. So that's my only comment. I didn't have comments, but I want just to make this very clear. The erosion sediment control measures are required as part of the drainage plan, as he mentioned in the staff's report, or one of the conditions or two conditions. So apart from that, as I said, that is my only comment. But my only question I have is just a minor question to the owner, and it's just to confirm. I want just to the owner to confirm if they have read and they are aware of the conditions of the approval.
Through the chair, yes, Mr. Mahongo, my wife and I have both read the report and are aware of the conditions.
Okay, thank you.
David, not to put you on the spot, but since there has been questions on the two requirements, can I ask you your thoughts on item 5, which the applicant has shown some resistance to? Is there anything, and I'll read it to you here right now. In addition to report shall include a schedule of monitoring the ongoing site work through a series of scheduled site visits by the arborist forester during and post construction to ensure the vegetation preservation measures remain in compliance throughout the project. Each site visit to be documented and any resulting action item required by the arborist forester shall be implemented and confirmed on site forthwith by the arborist forester following each visit. Since that was one of the two items brought forward, do you have any comments specifically to that one that you'd like to bring forward?
Through the chair, I don't have any comment. I can say I agree with those conditions.
Okay.
Because those conditions are there to protect in case something happens. You don't want something happen first and then rectify it. So I'm happy with those conditions, and I can see the owner is also nodding. He realizes, something can happen if they're able to. He mentioned very, very well, and I'm happy about that he will try as much as possible to protect those trees and so on, making sure that the construction goes appropriately. So I agree with the owner and agree with those conditions.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Makes it very simple since there's only two. Linda, do you have any comments, questions, or any concerns on those two requirement items that were brought forward?
Thank you, through the chair. No, I don't. I do think that has to stick in there, number 5, especially because of the big tree in front. They just come out and take a look and make sure and say, hey, wait, whoa, or whatever. I really think that's important not to be removed. The number 2, the of the lot grading, well, that's always an issue, but it is pretty flat in that area too. So, I don't know, it looked pretty flat to me. And you're doing a floating slab on that, and you're not having a very deep foundation going in there at all. It's probably going to go down about 4 feet down. Can I go through can I ask that question? How deep is your foundation going down for the slab?
Sorry to interject. Yeah, we're not going to develop actually this foundation as a kind of deep strip footing. What we're going to do, we're going to have actually a kind of a slab on grade down there. So we're not going to have a very heavy excavations, and that's the concern that I had. And I said, probably we don't need that, the erosion sediment control. That's going to be a very simple slab on a grade, and we're going to insulate the below and around the slab edges. So we're probably not going to have, and definitely we're not going to have a deep excavation down there.
Okay, that's the concern we have for the trees and the cedars beside as well. But some of them do, most likely they are a little ragged. So I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue there. No, the floating slab was it. I don't have a problem with the variance being so close to the fence, as that is actually indicative of that area. Most garages are on the lot lines in Old Town and around that area, so it'll actually blend in. It's not a problem. However, it is close to the neighbors, but you still got like a little bit of a foot and a half in between where the property line is in that, and the shed is almost in that section too. It is what it is, but it should be fine. And it's not very big actually. And it's only 300 square feet. Daniel, not 3,000 square feet. That's okay, not a problem.
Perfect, thank you.
I just picked up on that, but it's 300 square feet. So it's not, and it's not using up anymore. It's the whole thing, even with the garage, is only going to be 14% of the property size. So, and they're allowed up to 35%. So it's a very small little percentage of a building that's going in, and it's not taking up a lot of space. So for those reasons, I'm in favor of, but I don't have anything else that I've marked. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure. Yeah, and the pie-shaped lot, the fact that it's on an angle makes everything more difficult as well too, or an angle lot, I should say, not so much pie. But anyway, that's all. I did, the only other thing, Daniel, I wanted to bring up, I did not hear as the architect Aslan's name and address where he was coming from. So if you want to just repeat that so it's on the record, I think that's all we need to have on you. And that's it for me. Thank you. Through the chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda, and thank you for the correction, which is great to have noted. And as well, Mr. Jahani, could you please jump back in and repeat your name and your address and where you were placed? Yes, please.
So I don't want to say that, but I also have, I just always had this problem with announcing this, because you guys have a YouTube channel and our information goes public. But anyway, because of the policy that cities have, we have to mention this. But I just wanted to also mention this to the cities, that please find a way to not have our information public. So we're saying our name, our family names, and our property address. You just put it on a YouTube. Anyway, so this is Ehsan Jahani. I'm the registered architect with the OAA, 15945. It's my on Bayview Avenue, Aurora, L4G03. It's my address.
I appreciate that, and
You're welcome.
Noted to see what we can do about that in the future.
Yeah, at least if you can just mute it, this section on YouTube, that's fine.
Unfortunately, current law would make that illegal, but we will note and try to see what we can do for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So perfect. So I just have just one point of clarity to the owners. Steve, you mentioned 2 sheds. The only reason I'm going to ask this question is just to make sure that all the information was properly known before we move to vote. You stated 2 sheds. I just wanted to confirm on this drawing, I see 3 sheds. I see 2 in the back. Are those currently adjoined, 1 down? Can you just clarify when you said there are 2 and not 3? I see 3.
Certainly, through the chair. I don't know when the drawing that shows the 2 in the back would have been. It was about 2 summers ago during the beginning of the pandemic. It was a rusted old metal shed that was here when we bought the property, and we took it down to expand the garden at the back. There's now a Japanese garden where that is. So there's the 1 shed that's in the very far northwest corner, and then the one at call it the end of the driveway, which is the pool shed one. And 3,000 feet would be wonderful, but wow, could I
yeah, I gotta make sure I'm reading carefully. I apologize for that. And by the way, Japanese garden sounds beautiful. I just have one question for planner Sean, if you don't mind, Sean. I'll give you a few seconds to be ready. But my main question has to do with condition 6, which is a condition that we see many times tonight. But my main question is the use of the word may in this circumstance versus others where we see the word will. The item 6 only applies if, for example, a tree is damaged or something applies. Can you just clarify why in this case we use the word may and not will?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, no problem at all. So this was actually discussed over the phone with Mr. Arms yesterday. So as noted from Parks comments through their review of the submitted application, basically the application did not demonstrate that there would not be any whether or not there would be any removal of trees. So to answer your question, the reason why the word may was added instead of will was if it's necessary or not, right? So according to the owner, the majority of the landscaping along that side yard property line is going to be remaining, but basically the word may was used if it's necessary, if it needs to be included or not, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And sorry, Mr. Chair, if I could just, I know there have already been comments on the grading and the drainage, the erosion sediment control. For everybody's information, once again, I did discuss this with Mr. Arms over the phone yesterday, and as discussed, the reason for the inclusion of those conditions specifically, and I know it's already been discussed, but I just wanted to, for everybody's information. Basically, as discussed, the reason for the inclusion of those conditions specifically is so that it can be demonstrated that there will not be any negative impacts as it relates to drainage to the neighboring property. So ultimately, as referenced in the report, the onus is on the owner to demonstrate that there will not be any negative impacts as it relates to drainage. So hence the reason for the inclusion of those conditions.
I appreciate the clarity, Sean, and the insight on the various conversations in the last few days. Thank you very much. With that, my main questions have been addressed as well. So I will ask whether David or Linda would like to bring a motion forward for this application. David?
Okay.
All right, David. Please go ahead, David.
Yeah, I thought maybe I'll give you a chance to Linda. Anyway, through the chair, I move that the minor variance application MV-2022-39 be approved, subject the conditions in the staff's report. Thank you.
Perfect. Linda, will you support as stated? Perfect. Thank you. So the motion, all in favor? I'll put perfect. Motion carries. Thank you very much. So, Steve, as you heard, we approved the application. The 9 conditions do remain as written. However, no new conditions have been requested here today. So it is pretty much the same application as it was submitted. So hopefully that's congratulations and best of luck and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to the next item on the docket, which is minor variance 2022-42, which
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. So that's minor variance 2022-42, which is for 23 Hawthorne Lane by the Jeffs. This application was prepared by Rosanna Punit, which is the Aurora planner for this application, and the application is as follows. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the Town Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 6019 as amended to recognize an existing rear yard storage shed. The following relief is being requested. Section 7.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard of 3 meters. The applicant is proposing a storage shed, which is 1 meter to the interior property line. The owner applied for a building permit in 2019. The building permit was not completed in 2019 as side yard setbacks were not provided on the plan submitted. A notice of refusal was sent to the owner in 2019 requesting this application in order to proceed with the building permit. In September 2022 of this year, a town building inspector followed up on the notice of refusal and confirmed that the storage shed had been built. The inspector requested the missing information to be provided, the side setbacks, to proceed with the building permit process. This history will not impact our decision here today. Applicant's stated reason for not complying with the zoning bylaw is, as stated on the application form, we have a drainage ditch that would prevent it from being built. The grade would be too steep to drive my lawn tractor into the shed. I don't want to impede the water flow at the bottom of the garden, end quote. Planning comments. The proposed variance meets the general intent of the official plan. Comments are that the official plan is to ensure neighborhoods are protected from incompatible forms of development. However, the staff are of the opinion that the general intent of the official plan is being maintained. B, the proposed variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. The applicant is requesting an east interior side yard setback of 1 meter, where the zoning bylaw requires one of 3 meters. However, the staff are of the opinion that the requested variance is in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw and provides for privacy, spacing between dwellings, and drainage of the lands. C, the proposed variance is considered desirable for the appropriate development of the land. Staff are of the opinion that the requested variance is desirable for the appropriate development of the land. And D, the proposed variance is considered minor in nature. The storage shed is considered moderate in scale, and the requested variance is not anticipated to result in any negative impact. So the staff are of the opinion that the requested variance is minor in nature. Additional comments. Building division. They completed a zoning, a PZR on October 14, 2022. Engineering division have reviewed the above noted application and have no objections to it, provided that the stormwater drainage from the proposed site works will not cause any adverse impact on the neighboring property. That was dated November of this month. Operation services, so parks, I have no comments. Operations services, public works, no comment. The Central York Fire Services, no comment. York Region, no comment. The LSRCA have no comment. No comment on payment. Electra has no objection. There is a comment in the document. Public correspondence. Written submissions were not received at the time of writing in this report, and going through my emails, none have been received between report and here now today. So with that said, I would like to, confirming that I was missing a document, I am not. I know that we are joined here today by John and Janice Jeffs, the owners. Are they here today? Are they here now? No, I do not see them. Linda, will the Jeffs be joining?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant's having some technical difficulties. Do you mind giving him a couple minutes?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
No problem. I'll just take advantage of this time. We do have 5 applications here in front of us today. If at the end of the next, well, I will bring forward to my colleagues at the after the following application, if we require a bathroom break, a health break, a wine break, whatever it might be, I'll bring that up at that time. I'm just trying to move forward a little bit of time here. I guess the one thing I will mention as we wait, there was one attachment, which was the registered plan for the property, where the proposed the proposed shed was marked. Proposed is the shed that has been built. As an Irish Catholic, I deal with silence very badly.
So far, so good.
Thank you.
Through the chair, is it okay to maybe ask town staff for just one question about the drawings?
Yes, it looks as though John is connecting, but it's still connecting. So yes, please go ahead.
So only just to ask, did the applicant submit any other drawing or drainage drawing apart from the survey plan which they have marked up here? Sean?
Hello.
Through you, Miss-
This one here.
through you, Mr. Chair, I'll take a quick look through the file. I believe it would have been attached if there was anything else.
So this is the only one.
I'll confirm that for you in just a second. I'm gonna look in the file.
Or maybe it's okay, since we have the owner here, is something which we may ask. I wanted to ask as we're waiting from the owner, but the owner now is here, so it should be okay.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, that's the only drawing that we have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, Sean. John, I see that you have joined. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we went through the application. I believe that you have had a chance to read that application yourself. So I went through it and I articulated the main points. We are at the point where you are free now to make a presentation, discuss, make any comment as you so wish regarding the application, and we'll move from there. Do you have a presentation, or do you wish to make any comments?
No, well, my only comments, I suppose, is that if I were to put the shed 3 meters from the side yard, then I think it's going to get too close to where the natural water course is at the back of my property. And secondly, it would make it very difficult, if not impossible, for me to drive my lawn tractor into the shed because the mower would get stuck. And I've looked up and down the street, and I noticed today that there's at least 11 sheds that don't comply to this bylaw. They're either too close to the back or too close to the side yard.
Understood. Thank you very much, John. I think the main comment there is, unfortunately, we can only act and deal with what is in front of us. So that's what we will do. David, Linda, do you have any questions or comments that you would like to make to this application? Linda, please go ahead.
Through the chair, thanks. Not really. It's kind of hard to make any comments on a built. It's there. It's been there for over a year already. I mean, it wasn't done in the right order. It didn't have the proper permits, and it didn't have the authorization of the town, which is disappointing. However, at this moment, it is what it is. It's there, and it's been sitting there. So, I mean, what can you do? It's just disappointing. That's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. David, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a comment and a question. A question to the owner, and also a proposal later on. So basically, just a general comment is, lucky enough, after reading the whole report, you know what is there and you know in the site. Now this is a existing, but in the report you find that somewhere it says existing, proposed, and then even on the drawing provided by, I would guess, by the applicant, it says proposed 10 by 12 shed. Well, actually, that's not proposed, it's actually existing. The point is just to, to confirm, as Linda said, that, it should stay as it is. So that's just my general comment. That's confusing, and until you read the whole report and you go to the site. So I have a question to the owner, to the applicant. As you could see from the one of the comments from the engineering, they're saying that we have reviewed the above noted application and have no objections to it, provided that the stormwater drainage from the proposed site works will not cause any adverse impacts on the neighboring properties. So basically, my question to the applicant is, have you demonstrated that the stormwater or drainage will not cause any adverse impacts onto the neighboring properties? Or how have you demonstrated if you have?
So directly behind me, there is a very large old barn, and the people behind me can't see my shed. The shed right now is 1 meter from the backyard and 1 meter from the side yard. To the east of the shed is a high cedar hedge, so my neighbor can't even see the shed. To the west, I suppose if they were in their upstairs bedroom, they could see across my property to the shed. But nobody's complained to it. Nobody has complained about the shed.
So at the moment, I'm guessing the shade has got the EV troughs, or sort of where does the water, the roof travel, overrun flow from the roof? So you're got the U-shade at the corner there. The neighboring properties, one to the east and one to the south. So
it all drains onto my property. It doesn't drain onto their properties.
okay, so the water coming from the roof of your shade, it falls on your property and then it stays on your property.
It stays on my property.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. That's what I was going to confirm. Otherwise, my third comment was, I was going to propose a condition for you to provide a drainage plan showing where the shade eaves will outlet, and to ensure that stormwater is not discharged directly onto your neighbor's property to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and the Development Services. But looking at what you have explained, you have answered my questions. I really thank you for doing that. And also for marking up your sort of sketch of a drainage, sort of, which it looks good, that you are showing that the flow, when it's coming from the property to the east, or it's all drains. You have shown a route there going to the west. So that's okay. I will not propose the condition. You provided a good explanation with stormwater drainage and the stormwater conveyance. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, David. I'm going to just expand on that. Sean put you on the spot again, so I'm just going to let you know that I'm coming to you in 10 seconds. And I know, Sean, that you are not the planner on this, so I'll ask you to speak for your colleague, Rosanna. What I'm trying to understand, just from the many minor variances over the last few years, can you confirm or alleviate my concern that if this was something that was in front of us to be built, that there would be conditions similar to what David has mentioned, as opposed to taking the landowner's word, for lack of a better word at this time, that we would have imposed a review of grading, that we would have imposed a review of water movement, but because the land is, or the item is already built, we are foregoing that. First of all, let's just start with that. Is there something in front of you here that if this was to be built today, as opposed to already being built? I know I'm putting you in a tough position there. Maybe you can let me know. Maybe I'll rephrase it in a way that puts you in less of a difficult position. Do you have any concerns based on the fact that we are simply taking the landowner's point of view in terms of the grading and of the water movement? Is there a concern in front of you from what you're seeing?
Through you, Mr. Chair, sorry, I'm just reading the engineering's comments.
Please.
If you can just give me 1 second, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to answer your question, staff have no concerns. So the application, of course, just going through the normal process was, accepted. It was circulated and it was reviewed. So a development engineer with the town had reviewed this and provided their comments. And in the event that they did feel the need that any additional studies or reports or plans would be required, it would have been added in as a condition, but that wasn't done in this case. I can't speak for the development engineer who had reviewed the application, but perhaps it's just a matter of scale, right? Because it's a shed, right? It's not, a large size building. So to answer your question, staff have no concerns. Again, it's been reviewed by development engineering, and if they're comfortable with it, then I'm comfortable with it.
I appreciate that. I simply want to make sure that we're not doing a precedence here where we're favoring asking for forgiveness rather than permission. So it was a tough question. I appreciate the proper answer there. So with that said, that was my only concern. It is a fairly simple minor variance in front of us. So I will ask from my colleagues, David and Linda, if they have a motion that they would like to bring forward here tonight. Linda, please go ahead.
Through the chair, thank you. I move to approve MV-2022-43 Hawthorne Lane be approved.
Perfect. David, will you second that?
Yes, I second.
Perfect. All in favor? The motion carries. Mr. Jeffs, as you just saw, we did approve your minor variance. So the property now is in conformity, I do believe. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the town, but the minor variance as in front of us here today has been approved. So thank you and have a great rest of your evening.
Okay, well, thank you, Chairman. I appreciate it. And the committee.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that brings us to minor variance MV-2022-46 for 52 Child Drive, by Torobi. This application was prepared as well by Rosanna Punit, represented here today by Sean. The application is as follows. The applicant is requesting relief from the Town Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate a new two-story dwelling. The proposed two-story dwelling has a total GFA of approximately 370 square meters or 4,000 square feet, inclusive of the garage. The garage is proposed to be fronting on Baldwin Avenue. The following reliefs are being requested. Section 7.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum exterior side yard setback of 6 meters. The applicant is proposing a two-story detached dwelling with an attached garage. Proposed variance related to the garage portion only, which is 4.1 meters to the exterior side property line. And section 24.497.3.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 3 meters beyond the main rear wall of the adjacent dwelling. The applicant is proposing a two-story detached dwelling, which is 1.5 meters to the interior side property line. Okay, the applicant stated reason for not complying with the zoning bylaw as stated on the application form. Quote, exterior side yard setback is large at 6 meters. We complied with house only asking for single-story garage to be set back, end quote. Planning comments. On A, the proposed variance meets the general intent of the official plan. A site plan application is currently under review by planning staff where matters relating to site and building design, et cetera, will be addressed. Staff are of the opinion that the requested variance will facilitate the development of a new dwelling that is compatible with and generally in keeping with the low-density residential form and character of the neighborhood. As it relates to B, proposed variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. Given that the applicant complies with the rear yard setback and there are existing mature cedar trees at the rear property line, staff are of the opinion that the decreased exterior side yard setback maintains privacy of the abutting property, that being 52 Johnson Road, and does not negatively affect the overall streetscape of the neighborhood. As such, staff are of the opinion that the requested variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. C, the proposed variance is considered to be desirable for the appropriate development of the land. Staff are of the opinion that the requested exterior setback, side yard setbacks are appropriate for the development of the land. Staff are also of the opinion that the variance is desirable and does not adversely affect the overall neighborhood characteristics. The proposed variants are considered, this is D, but the proposed variances are considered minor in nature. Staff are of the opinion that the requested variances are minor in nature. Additional comments. Building division has completed their PZR. Engineering division have no comments. Op services, parks have no formal comments as these are being addressed through the stable neighborhood application SPR 2022-21. Op services, public works, no comments. Central York services, no comments. York region, no comments. Transportation has the following comment. We advise that the proponent that any vehicles parked on the driveway that extend over the municipal right of way, i.e. future sidewalks of travel portion of Baldwin Road, may be subject to tagging and towing from the town of Aurora bylaw services. LSRCA, no comment. Electra received no objections of this approval subject to their standard comments. Regarding public correspondence, written submissions were not received at the time of writing of this report, and checking my notes and comments, none have been received between the report and our time here today. There has been one condition of approval laid out. I will read it since it is short. That the owner obtains stable neighborhood site plan approval as per bylaw 6106-18 as amended to the satisfaction of Director of Planning and Development Services or designate. Perfect. And the rest of the attachments are the drawings. Let me just go to my list of attendees. We are expecting, I apologize if I messed up the name, Hale Javandi Tarabi as the owner and Tamzaz Goral as the applicant. I apologize if I butchered your names. I meant it in every respect possible. I do see that Tomaz is here now. First of all, am I pronouncing your name correctly so I can continue to do so properly?
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is pronounced Tomasz, but you can say Thomas for simplicity.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Tomasz, do you have a presentation you wish to make here tonight, or are we good to proceed?
I guess I can make a presentation. I have a few comments, but I think there's some opposition, and I don't know if they want to speak first, or should I speak first so that we're not repeating things 2, 3, 4 times? Because I mean, from when I read the opposition letters, it's kind of all the same in one big circle, right?
I appreciate that you mentioning that. Linda, I do believe this is to you. I do not see any registered public delegates to join us today. And have I missed public correspondence? Because I have noted that there are no public correspondence for this application. Could you please clarify? Or maybe Peter, yes.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there has been no public delegation requested at this time.
Perfect. And can you please confirm that something has not been lost in email? Do you have public correspondence that has been added to this application?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you very much.
To the chair, there
Yes,
is
please.
one letter of opposition which you submitted to us.
Oh, so I did lose something in.
There's the one letter of opposition which was submitted, it was attached even the email by Peter today, or even last time. There's a letter of opposition.
Can I ask you, because I do not see it, I don't know what has happened. David, do you have it? And if so, could you please read it?
Okay, I can read it. It says, okay, at the beginning, from Julie Jones, the Hotmail email, December 4, 2022, at 8:40 p.m. to Peter, subject 52 Child Drive letter. It says, Dear Peter Fan, below is my written comments. Note the residents at 8 Bodwin are out of the country until December 12, so have not seen the letter above the minor variance. The neighbor beside the home on Child Drive, with full stop there, I think is still a rental, and the house across the road at 1 Bodwin is also a rental. Then the actual letter, I think, which was maybe sent sometime back, to Planning and Development, Town of Aurora, December 4, 2022. The subject line reads, minor variance request, file number MV-2022-42, property 52 Child Drive, Aurora. So the main body of the message. I do not support the 2 variance requests made. I would be very upset if I lived in the house beside the interior side yard in particular. With the height of this new house, the existing neighbors will have much more light obstructed. Second paragraph, we have guidelines, and I see no reason to make an exception in this build. There is nothing special about this build other than they want to build a very large single-family home. Third paragraph, I was disappointed to learn the other small family size resident will be replaced with a large resident in my neighborhood. Eventually, this neighborhood will only be for the wealthy. Our children will never be able to afford a regular home in this area, as the supply of homes in the 1 million to 1,200,000, which is what the smaller bungalows in Legacy Acres go for, will be replaced with 2 million to 3 million homes. We have already seen this happen on Child Drive. Last paragraph, it is sad to see a well-maintained home put in the landfill yet again. The shortage of housing will not be addressed. Environmentally, more resources are used for building, yet more garbage is created first. The good part is they will pay more property taxes. So at the end, Julie Jones, 4 Bodwin Road, Aurora, Ontario, all 4G, 2J3. That's it.
I truly appreciate that, David, and I was able to find it. It was just that email flurry that made me skip that one. I apologize, but it's good that it is documented here. And Tomasz, you wanted to address those concerns. Please go ahead and then move on to your presentation, please.
Yeah, no, I read those objections. I mean, to me, it's a little bit rubbish that she's commenting that we'll pay more property tax. I mean, that has nothing to do with what we're here today for. We're here today to ask about two variances. This is evolution. All single-family dwellings eventually will be destroyed and rebuilt. There's a lot of two-story houses on the property already. Rebuilding houses has nothing to do with solving the shortage of homes. So I just don't see how these arguments have anything to do with what we were asking for. So I didn't find any substance in that email, because we're here not to discuss how people feel, but more of from a point-to-point basis on what variances we're asking for and how they would affect the property.
Perfect. And actually, I did not ask you to state, you did mention your name in order to clarify it, but could you please repeat your name and as well your address for the proceedings?
Yeah, so my name is Tomasz Gural from 720 King Street West in Toronto, Suite 411.
Thank you very much. So we did hear and note your response to the concerns as outlined by Mrs. Jones. So those are noted. So yes, if you wanted to proceed with your presentation, yep, or at least your conversation and notes regarding the minor variance ahead in front of us here tonight.
Yep. Okay. So the first point has to do with the setback, the 6 meters that is being requested. This 6 meters is site specific for this particular property because it is a corner lot. If it wasn't a corner lot, it would be 1.5, just like the other side, which we complied. That being said, I did work with Roseanne. You did mention one of the conditions is through the site plan, or sorry, the stable neighborhood application. We are currently in that, but we're stopped right now because we have to come to committee first before we can proceed with that application. So when we decided to design this home, we decided we're going to comply with the 6 meter setbacks for the entire house, just not the garage, because that would be too much in the house. The house is already much more narrow than we feel that it should be, but it's still, with the design that we did, it still worked out pretty well. I like to comment and also point to, there's an existing garage there right now, and that setback is 1.23. So even with the new design, we've pushed that garage much more in, and it's a larger setback now at 4.14 as opposed to the current 1.23. So I think we even improved that. The second point that we're asking for is the interior yard setback. So I understand that what this basically means is when we meet the house that's adjacent on the right-hand side, so that's number 50, once we get to the back of that house, we would have to step it in from the property line 3 meters. We didn't. We continued it straight just because from an aesthetic purpose from the outside, a house is much more nicer with less corners. Because this corner, if we had to comply with that, we would be stepping the house in 4'9". And it really doesn't make any sense. I know one of the comments, because I saw another letter, one of the comments was that the individual would see a 2-story wall. And I'd like to say that whether it's in that position or it's stepped in 4.9, that 2-story wall is still there in both conditions. And actually, we could, based on the bylaws, because we're not asking, a lot of people were complaining about the size of the home, but we didn't trigger a size variance or a height variance. These are the only 2 variances. So in reality, we could take out that piece, add it to the back, and then that wall would be even larger. But we're not trying to push our weight around or create commotions within the neighborhood. We just feel that lining it up, it's easier for construction. The flow space of the house is much better, and it's just a cleaner finish. And that, for that reason, we just carried that straight through that what is it, 9 feet.
Excellent. Perfect. So are those all of your comments here tonight before we move to the committee members?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Okay. So with that said, David, Linda, do you have any questions for Tomasz? Linda, please go ahead.
Thank you, and through the chair. Yeah, I got a couple things on this one. I've got, first of all, the actual design of the building, I don't feel that it meets the urban design guidelines which are provided by Stable Neighborhoods. It's a more palatial looking building, first of all, it's a very large building, which is allowed in this area with between the bylaws, but it really doesn't fit into the neighborhood because of the palatial look of it. The other homes are a lot smaller. So I think I realize you're still going through the site plan and you're going through Stable Neighborhoods. I think you should reevaluate the actual look of it to see how it would blend in a little bit better, because the urban design guidelines provided by Stable Neighborhoods, it doesn't quite fit that bill. But once again, you're still in the process of it, and the site plan applications under review, and the building design will be addressed at that point. The other comments I had to make was it seems because you're on the corner, it makes sense to put the garage at the back and gives you a lot more at the front. I'm fine with that, but at the same time, if you look at the square footage of the garage, which I don't have the numbers for, but if that garage was actually pushed back further and then pushed, I think it's south, where the basement terrace is, like bring it back and push it back, you would actually meet that variance on the side property line, moving that garage around a little bit. Just an observance there. Your comments would be appreciated on that as well. But I think if it didn't stick out so far on the one side and it went deeper into the lot and back a little bit, you could save a variance on that one side.
Would you like Tomasz to respond right now?
I was just wondering if you had any.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we could comply with all the variances. We're here because we don't like that option. I mean, it's already, even with the garage where it is right now, the backyard is much smaller than we would like. I mean, if we never had to have this 6 meter setback because it's a corner lot and we could have one of the interior lots, the house would never be, even right now, sticking how far back it is. So it would be a much more compact house and we'd have more backyard. So we don't want to jeopardize the backyard by making the house long, narrow, and putting everything further back because of the 6 meter setback. I mean, as I had mentioned, the existing garage is set back 1.23. We did put it back. We felt that was also a good location because this is an intersection and the current drive into the driveway is right at the corner, which I would think is a hazard for that intersection. Us putting in the back and much further back, I think it just opens up that intersection more for cars to be going by without kind of looking like, is someone from the corner house going to drive out, right?
Yeah, through the chair. No, I agree. There's nothing wrong with the location at the back. I think that's great too. That's fine. I just I just have a bit of a problem with the where it's situated. And you know what, when you build a 4,000 square foot house, you're going to lose a lot of yard anyway. It's a big place. So I mean, you can't look for yard with a 4,000 square foot house. It's just, on these lots, you're not going to get that. I think that's all I have for now. I'll let David speak, but yeah, I'll finish that for now. Thank you very much. Through the chair, thank you.
Thank you, Linda. David, yes, if you have any comments, please proceed.
Yeah, so the chair, I have maybe 2 or 3 questions to the applicant. Did you at all think of moving the whole building to the left a little bit so that you increase the spacing for the interior setback and reducing the exterior setback? Because I see the building is that 1.5 meters somehow closer. And if you move a little bit, if it was the whole building, including the garage, I'm looking at the whole footprint, moved a little bit to the left, you would still have not meet the exterior, but it's 6 meters, it's a bit large. You could have moved to about maybe, I don't know, reduce maybe further. But if you look at, as you have said yourself, which I agree, or you would have made, if based on the previous one, would have made the 3 meter, and so now it's 6 meters, and you would have, moved a little bit so that there's a sort of, from one of the comments from Ms. Jones about the new building being very, very close to child number 50, though it's a rental, probably the owner was not there to provide any comments, or maybe he's not even aware of the application, but would maybe complain or submit a concern regarding being closer. So my question, did you at all look at, for example, moving the building a little bit to the west or to the left, so that you sort of you increase a little bit the setback or the interior setback, and you reduce the exterior setback, though you do not meet both of them, but at least it has been moved a little bit. Did you at all look at that?
Yes and no. We didn't. I mean, the side yard setback complies right now, except the portion that is past the neighbor. So number 50. It's that it's a magic box that's 4'9" by 9 feet. That little square. That's what doesn't comply. And the reason we did that was, as I had mentioned, to make the house more compact and nicer, because we could, as you said, remove that piece and put it in the back, but that would just make the house longer. And I mean, I think that is even less curb appeal for the whole neighborhood by us making a narrow, very long home, because that would still comply with the zoning. But because we wanted to compact the house a bit and make it more pleasing for everybody, which would also cast less shadow for number 50, we came forth to ask you guys for relief on these variances, because we want to create the least amount of impact on the neighboring homes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the labeling on your drawing also seems not to be not correct. You are labeling at the corner in terms of that distance, but actually, as you have explained, it's that sort of a window, the frame, which is basically that's the one. That's the issue. But anyway, in terms of the location of the driveway now, from the traffic safety, public safety point of view, I think it's a better location than the existing location, which is at the corner, in terms of maneuvering of the cars and seeing, both sides and so on, whether there's another car coming or not. So that's a somewhat better location than the existing location now. So my other question is, I want you to confirm, while you are building this, you are creating this new garage, are you going to remove those existing asphalt driveway and so on? Because I don't see any notes to show that you are moving. I'm seeing garage floor, asphalt driveway, and closer to child there, and I don't see anything at all. So can you confirm that you're going to remove that driveway going to child, and you're going to landscape that area?
Yes, correct. So what we did was we did the proposal and we overlaid it onto the existing topographic survey. So yes, that existing asphalt driveway will be removed and sodded. And where it says proposed driveway, that will only be the new driveway. And that actually, if it was wider, which it was wider, we had it wider by about 3 inches, and we were notified that that was a variance. So we had addressed that, and that's why the width of that driveway, as it is right now, is not a variance, and it complies.
Okay, thank you very much. Just next time, make sure you show that on your drawings that the asphalt is going to be removed. Otherwise, the way it shows that it's going to stay there. So
no problem.
Thank you very much for your answer. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Through chair, I don't have any I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Linda, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. Just one other quick question here. That garage that you are building, exactly how big is it, and how many cars can fit in it? It looks like it's a little bit, it looks a little short on one side.
It is, no, it's a 2-car garage. I will tell you the size right now. The interior size is width-wise 18 feet 6 inches, and the length is 18 feet 10 inches. The reason why on the site plan view it looks like it's shorter on the other side is because just that little corner, the second floor overhangs it, but on the ground floor it's part of the garage.
So what I'm seeing, through the chair, thank you. What I'm seeing is it is an actual square. It isn't just, it doesn't have a piece cut out at the back there.
Correct. The reason why it's toned in because that's the second floor. The second floor overhangs that little corner.
Okay, that's clarified. That's what I wanted to know. It looked like it wasn't even a full size in there, and you couldn't even put a car on that one side.
No, it's a 2-car.
Fine. Okay, thank you. Thanks for that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I'm just going to take a crack at the same comment my colleagues made, just from a different point of view. My colleagues brought up the fact that we are ahead, and actually, Mr. Tomas, you brought it up as well. We are here today because we need to maximize the amount of space, but the goal remains, from what I'm hearing, to keep the 4,000 square feet. The 4,000 square feet might simply be too big for that lot. We're looking at making changes that are the result of a corner lot to the intention of the bylaw, but that is for a home that is significantly larger than an average home, in order to comply or to put it into a lot that was made for a smaller home. Is there not a concern, but is there a specific reason that 4,000 is a requirement? The average Canadian home is about 22. Well, of the larger Canadian homes, the larger is 22 square feet, 2,200 square feet. So 4,000 is a large home.
No, for sure. I mean, all new homes that are being built that are custom homes are typically now between 35 to 4,000. I mean, people don't really buy lots and build custom homes for themselves that are 2,500 square feet because that's
just a very specific audience you're referring there.
Correct. But this is my client. My client this is the audience they're in. They're building this for themselves. They're maximizing the home. They have 3 children. That's why it's a 4-bedroom house. And there are houses on that street that are also 35. I think the reason when I spoke to Roseanne that the stable neighborhood came about was because people were building these larger homes. And there already are, from my understanding, already 8 of them there. So it's not that we're setting a precedence and we're not the first one. Are we maximizing what is allowed? Absolutely. The 2 variances we're asking for is we're just trying to situate it better on the property, because as I had mentioned and as Linda had asked, of course we can comply with the bylaws for this particular lot, but we just want to maximize it because that is the ultimate goal, but also maximizing it, making it pleasant for everyone, and not just making a home just to maximize and then it's a long home, everything is compacted. That doesn't make sense either, right?
Well, I don't think anything's compacted at 4,000, but yes. So
what I meant by compact is rather than making it even longer. I meant it in that regard.
Yeah. My concern is always the fact that we're buying some land because that's the piece of land that became available, and then because that was the piece that was available, we tried to build the big homes on them. And I have nothing against big homes. I thought my house was big until I start to see these properties. But I just want to make sure that we're all being honest in the terms that we're using in terms of what we're asking. It's not that we're looking for hardship, which was the word I was looking for earlier. It's simply, is there a way of getting your objective across by still respecting the intent of bylaw? And I think that's where we are here today, is we're playing with the intent as opposed to the numbers. But that's why we have committee of adjustments as opposed to simple yes, no answers. So with that said, I don't know if my colleagues would have any final comments. I'm not seeing any now. So I will ask if David or Lynn.
Can I ask a question?
Only of a topic that's already been brought up, because I had finished, and but yes, only of a topic that's already been brought up, please.
Just want to know, because I've done C of A in many of the cities in all of the GTA. I was just wondering, when it comes to, you had kind of brought up in Aurora, is it a straight yes or no, or is it that you guys would, for instance, give one variance and not the other one, or you would reduce the variance? Like, how would that work?
Oh, okay. So what I meant by yes, no, is I was simplifying the process there. There is no yes, no. It is possible that one of my colleagues will bring up a motion that approves one or the other, approves both, denies both. And then another colleague would have to either move that or ask for a change or refuse it and bring up a new motion. But yes, the yes, no is an oversimplification of the process for colorful discourse. But no, the real process here is purely a motion that will bring forward to approve as is, make a change, or deny.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. So David, Linda, do you have a motion that you would like to bring forward here for this minor variance? David, please go ahead.
Through the chair, I move that minor variance application MV-2022-43 be approved, subject to the condition in the staff support. Thank you.
Excellent. Linda, will you second? Yes, you will. Okay. All in favor? The motion carries unanimously. So Tomasz, even with our concerns, and you've heard them, so we'll leave them as suggestions. But as it stands, the minor variance has been approved. But please keep in mind that the condition remains, and you will have to comply with that under this approval.
Thank you very much, Chair and committee members. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well. Okay, so that brings us to so 6.6, which is minor variance 2022-43, which is for 49 Jasper Drive by either the family or the group Pazienza. This application was prepared by Kenny Nang, I believe. So the application is as follows. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of a two-story detached dwelling. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a two-story single detached dwelling with a cross floor area of approximately 315.8 square meters or 3,399.24 square feet. The proposed dwelling includes an attached garage, a covered porch, and 4 bedrooms on a second floor. The proposed garage will accommodate 2 vehicles and storage. A conceptual site plan and elevations are attached as Appendix B to this report. The following relief is being requested. Section 24.497.3.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 3 meters beyond the main rear wall of the adjacent dwelling, whereas the applicant is proposing a 2.3 meters to the northerly interior side yard. Sections 24.497 .3.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 3 meters beyond the main rear wall of the adjacent dwelling, whereas the applicant is proposing a 2.3 meters on to the southerly interior side yard. Related planning application, stable neighborhood application SPR SPR 2022-07, under technical review. Applicant stated reasons for not complying with the zoning bylaw are as follows, as stated on the application form, quote, rear setback meets the required setback, but because this is a pie-shaped lot, the width at the front is reduced, thus creating side yard variances. Planning comments as it relates to A, the proposed variance meets the general intent of the official plan. It is the planning staff opinion that the proposed variance will not result in any significant negative impact. As a result, the staff are of the opinion that the proposed variances meet the general intent of the official plan. On B, the proposed variance meets the general intent of the zoning bylaw. The proposed dwelling will largely follow the zone requirements with minimum modifications. Therefore, staff are of the opinion that the requested variances will meet the general intent of the zoning bylaw. C, the proposed variance is considered desirable for the appropriate development of the land. It is the opinion of staff that even with the reduced side yard setbacks on both sides, the property will continue to be in keeping with other surrounding residential properties within the neighborhood at large. Therefore, staff are of the opinion that the proposed variances are considered desirable for the appropriate development of the property. And D, the proposed variance is considered minor in nature. It is the planning staff opinion that the streetscape will largely remain unaltered, as the slight encroachment onto the side yard will not be discernible from the public realm perspective. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed variants are minor in nature. Additional comments. Building division completed the PZR. Engineering division has no comment. Operation Service Parks staff recommend that the committee impose conditions in this application if approved, which are in Appendix A. Operation Services, Public Works, no comment. Central York Fire Services, no comment. York Engineering. I believe somebody is on a delay. Perfect. Okay. Central York Fire Services have no comment. York Region stated no comment. The LSRCA, no comment. And Electra have no objections. Public correspondence. There has been one written submission that was received at the time of writing up this report, which is summarized below. I will not go into full detail, but I will outline the 6 main issues. There was a concern over building privacy and views. The response from town is that this is a slightly larger home to the adjacent properties, and therefore, with the way that things are proposed, that they will alleviate the concern for loss of privacy and view. Concern with drainage and tree loss has been responded by the town. Concern with maintenance also responded by the town. Concern with air and subterranean rights has been clarified by the town. Concerns with traffic and parking. The traffic analysts and team at the town have reviewed and see no issues. Concern with the proposed buildings compatibility. Also reviewed by the town regarding streetscape and aesthetics, and have addressed the concern. Appendix A, which are the recommended conditions of approval. I have noted 5 here. Yes, there are 5. In short, number 1 has to do with that the variance applies only to the subject property. That 2, the owner shall enter into a letter of undertaking with the town of Aurora. That 3, there shall be that the owner shall provide an evaluation report prepared by a certified arborist or professional registered forester. 4, that the owner shall provide vegetation compensation, and 5, the owner shall agree to comply with the Aurora Tree Permit Bylaw number 5850-16. The additional appendices are the drawings for the application. Correct. I believe, I'm just going to go, I believe that we have the owner and a representative here with us tonight. I believe Mr. Del Grosso and Mr. Pazzi. Mr. Del Grosso, do you wish to proceed first? And if so, please state your name and your address.
Yes, my name is Anthony Del Grosso, and I'm the agent for the owners at 49 Jasper Drive. My address is 406 Horsham Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. Does Mr., I believe if this is the wrong name, it's the one that's showing up on my screen. If Mr. Pazzi does want to introduce himself, please do so now so it can be noted if he wants to comment later.
Hi, it's Michael Pazienza from 49 Jasper Drive in Aurora.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Are any of you wishing to make a presentation, make comments, or address any issues before we proceed with the committee team?
Not really. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's a pie-shaped lot, therefore the variances I guess it has triggered the variances. So we're just asking relief on this. We feel that it is minor in nature, and and we were asking the committee to approve the application today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, Linda, David, do you either of you have any questions or comments for the applicants? Oh, David, please.
Actually, I don't have any comments, but I just have a question to the applicant. And my question is basically, I want the applicant to confirm that it has read and is aware of the conditions of approval.
Yes, we have read the conditions and we're okay with the conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Linda, do you have, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. I just wanted to say that I don't really have too many questions. I don't have questions. I have comments that I felt that the house was more indicative of the urban design plan with the front porch. It's a smaller build. It fits on the lot size. I see the problem with the pie-shaped lot causing you the issues. If you push the house back at all, would that eliminate any of your issues? I think.
I mean, it is through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, it is a growing family. They want to take advantage of the backyard. That's where the kids play. There's play areas and that. So we'd like to maintain as much backyard as possible.
Okay. Understood. At the same time, I was wondering why I might ask staff this question, why the variances for the 2.32 versus the 1.6 that's at the front. Like the front of the house is got a variance there. It says there's a measurement there of 1.6, but what's highlighted on my copy is the 2.32, and then as it gets to the back of the house, it's 3.04, which is fine. Why is the variance at the 2.32 mark and not the front of it?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, just to clarify. So I'm looking at variance A. So it's 2.3 meters to the northerly interior side yard. And sorry, I'm just trying to clarify which area specifically you're referring to on the site plan.
Through the chair, I'm looking at the very front of the house, beside right beside the porch. It comes across and it says 1.6 there. And then as you go back, it says 2.32. Why is the 1.6 not an issue?
Right, now I understand.
And if I've misunderstood, sorry.
No problem at all. So the variance request, it's in regards to beyond the main rear wall of the adjacent dwelling. So if you're looking at the side yard setback, for anything that extends beyond the main rear wall of the adjacent dwelling, the neighboring property, that's where it takes effect, or that's where the variance applies. But the 1.6 is a non-issue. If it was, it would have been captured in the preliminary zoning review. So my understanding is that it's not an issue at all. And
Okay. Well, I don't know why it wouldn't be. I guess it's because it's still parallel to the number 47 beside it, right?
right.
Or a brick, but I got to go by what you do in your office there, and it was just
Yes. Sorry, I'm just so you're referring to the 1.62.
yeah, right. On both sides, it's 1.6 on one side and 1.62 on the other.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, basically, so the variance applies to again anything beyond the main anything that extends beyond the rear wall of
number 47. I get it. Okay.
Yes, sorry. I hope.
Yeah,
sorry if
no, I
didn't-
see what you're saying now. Yeah, even though there's enough space there. I just wondered. Okay,
Right.
thanks, Sean. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no problem.
clarified that for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with this. I think it's a very nice design and it fits on. I was just curious about that too. And if you could move it back, and I understand the backyard situation as well. Okay, I think I'm good. Thank you very much, Sean, and through the chair, thank you. Thank you, Mr. De Closa.
Thank you, Linda. I honestly, for this one, don't really have any comments or questions. I think it is a respectful design, and it is also a humble ask from the applicant. So I honestly, this will probably be the only one tonight that I won't have any questions or comments regarding. So thank you.
Thank you.
Apologize, the conversation won't be longer, but I have nothing to ask. So David, Linda, with that, are you comfortable bringing a motion forward? Glad I made David laugh. Linda, please go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, I move to approve MV-2022-43 49 Jasper Drive to be approved for the minor variance as indicated in the staff report, subject to the conditions in Appendix A.
Excellent. Thank you. David, do you second?
Yes, I see.
Excellent. All in favor? Excellent. The motion carries. So it is a very quick and an effective time to go through the minor variance, but as you saw, we did approve it as presented here today. So thank you very much for your time, and have a great rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Good night.
Okay, so we are going to move on to our last minor variance or item of the day. I'll just move over to it. Last item is another minor variance MV-2022-47. This is for 32 Dunwillick Drive by Jonathan Lavatsky Limited, care of Adrian Lavatsky. The document or the application was prepared by Sean Pena here tonight. Application is as follows. The applicant is requesting relief from the town comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of a new one-story, 7-unit industrial building with a total gross floor area of 3,104.22 square meters or 33,414 square feet, which includes 60 parking spaces, including 2 barrier-free spaces, and a building height of 11.659 meters or 38 feet. Proposed variance. The proposed variance application proposes a reduced width for a maneuvering aisle for a 90-degree parking on the east side of the property. The following relief from the requirements of the town's zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended is requested. Section 5.3, required maneuvering space of the zoning bylaw 6000-17 requires that the minimum width of maneuvering aisles for 90-degree parking is 7 meters. The applicant is proposing a 6 meter on the east side of the property. Note, as shown on the site plan, the proposed variance only applies to the one driveway aisle on the eastern portion of the property. The remaining proposed driveway will comply with the town zoning bylaws. Applicants stated reason for not complying with the zoning bylaw is based on the nature of the industrial uses envisioned for the site. A minimum GFA is required for the business to function. As such, the proposed minor variance is required to facilitate the redevelopment of the subject land. Planning comments regarding A, the proposed variance meets the general intent and purpose of the official Planning Act. The planning staff are the opinion that the minor variance meets the general intent and purpose of the official plan. On B, the proposed variance meets the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The maneuvering aisle to be provided will not impede traffic movement for the purposes of future industrial development. Therefore, the maneuvering aisle as proposed will not result in any negative impact, and the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is met. On C, the variance is considered desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land. With review, the staff are of the opinion that the variance as proposed is considered to be desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. And on C, the variance is considered minor in nature, permitting a decreased maneuvering aisle of 6 meters when the bylaw requires 7 is not viewed by staff as a significant departure from the zoning bylaw. As such, staff therefore considered the variance to be minor in nature. Additional comments, engineering services, no comment. Building services, no comment. Accessibility advisor, no comment. The traffic analyst has reviewed the functionality of the proposed driveway width as part of the site plan application. The vehicle maneuvering diagram is acceptable, and he has no, or she have no further comments. Operational services, parks, no formal comments. Op services, public works, no comments. Central York Fire Services, no comment. The Regional Municipality of York, no comment. The LSRCA has no comment other than confirming that they will be collecting the the applicant will be paying their LSRCA review fee, and Electra Review has no objections, but with their standard comments. Public correspondence, written submissions were not received at the time of writing of this report. And although I have made one mistake today regarding that, I have not seen any additional exchanges on public correspondence for this property. The attachments are A, the conditions of approval, which I'll outline in a second, and Appendix B, the site plan. So the conditions of approval, there is only one. And since there's only one, I will read it quickly, that the variance only applies to the subject property. The rest is actually unnecessary, but this minor variance would only apply to this subject property. Or at least that would be the request from the town. With that said, I see two individuals who have joined, a Mr. Stevens and Mr. If I missed this up, I apologize, Luxic. I would ask that you introduce yourselves, and if you have any comments, please go ahead, any comments or presentations you wish to make. But as you introduce yourselves, please state your address.
Hi, everyone. So I'll go first. My name is Brandon Stevens. I'm representing the applicant tonight, along with my colleague David, as you noted. I will be giving a brief presentation, and David is the transportation engineer on our team, and he's available to answer any technical questions if necessary. So as I said, my name is Brandon Stevens. I'm a senior planner with Johnston Latavsky Planning Consultants, and our office is located at 235 Lakeshore Road East in Oakville. Our firm has been retained to assist with both this minor variance application and an ongoing site plan application for this site as well, which is currently being reviewed by town staff. Both applications are to facilitate the development of a 7-unit industrial building on the subject lands. I'll do my best to keep my remarks brief as it is the end of the evening. But both our transportation engineer, David, and myself would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have at the end of the presentation. I do want to highlight that we are only seeking relief for one zoning standard, that our proposal has been carefully designed to comply with all other zoning regulations. This minor variance application seeks relief from section 5.3 of the zoning bylaw, which requires a minimum maneuvering or driving aisle width of 7 meters. As shown on the site plan, the application proposes a reduced maneuvering aisle width of 6 meters on the east side of the property. The proposed width is identified on the site plan. In blue, which you'll see on the screen here. For clarity, the proposed variance only applies to the driveway aisle on the eastern portion of the property. The remainder of the driveway, so on the north, so at the top of your screen, the north side of the property, and then the left side of your screen, which is the western property, fully complies with the town zoning bylaw. The proposal has been thoroughly reviewed by town staff and external agencies, all of which I'll note are supportive of this proposal. As stated in the staff report, staff agree with our assessment that as proposed, the site will function effectively and that the application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. As I said, the application has been carefully designed to comply with all of the other zoning regulations. So I do want to point out that the reason we are seeking relief from this particular standard is because of the operational requirements of these proposed industrial uses, which require a minimum GFA or area for this particular industrial operation. In summary, I'd like to reiterate that we agree with staff's assessment that as proposed, the site will function effectively and that the application meets the 4 tests as set out in the Planning Act. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Excellent, thank you. David, I'll just go with your first name because I believe I butchered your last name. David, do you have anything you'd like to add or simply available for questions and comments?
I'm through you, Mr. Chair. I'm available for answering any comments, any questions. I think Brandon did an excellent presentation.
Thank you very much. So then I will jump to my colleagues, David and Linda. I see Linda, please go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you for your presentation. No, I looked into this and I was more concerned about what the fire standards were going to be and what the conditions were they were putting down. It looks like it looks fine. It says 7 meters. That you want, that's normal, or that's the bylaw, and you want 6 meters, but then the Ontario Building Code is 6 meters as well for fire department. So I think it pretty well, as long as it's all right with the Ontario Building Code and the fire department there, I think that's the major concern. I think you can turn the corners. That was really just for safety reasons to get in there and get out of there by making it a narrower laneway going in there was my most concern. So other than that, that's my only comment on that, and I appreciate that. So that was my concern. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. David, do you have any questions, concerns, or
Yeah,
comments?
I have questions, but even comments. So I looked at the whole IRO. Maybe my first question is the traffic, the town traffic analyst indicated that I think you had provided a vehicle maneuvering diagram. Are you able to share that? And the analyst based on that to say it's acceptable. I just want to see if you have, and you can show us here.
Peter or Sean, is that something, or, sorry, would that be to town, David, or to David?
Yeah, it could be from David, the traffic engineer, or from Brandon, whoever it is, or even the town staff if they have.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do have a presentation, and I wasn't planning to use it, but we can pull it up, and there's about several slides with turning movement diagrams. So maybe if we can start from slide number 3. I don't want to repeat the background. So as Brandon mentioned, in this particular figure, north is to the left side. So the east driving aisle, that's the one that where we're proposing 6 meters. So that's a deviation of 1 meter from the bylaw requirement of 7 meters. And the north and west driving aisles remain at 7 meters. Next slide, please. So in this diagram, we did passenger vehicle simulations. So on the left side of the slide, we can see passenger vehicles turning at the corners and entering and exiting the site. And for clarification, the proposed site is the site is proposed to operate as one way. So the east driving aisle would be the entrance, and the west driving aisle would be for exiting. And we can also see that 6 meters is sufficient for vehicles to enter and exit the parking spaces. So we have a few diagrams. Next slide, please. Again, this is another one with passenger vehicle maneuvers. And we did it in this particular case. For example, there's one parking space in the northeast corner of the lot. That parking space had to be added to meet the bylaw requirements for parking. We also tested when a larger vehicle is parked at the loading space, if there would be any issues with entering and exiting the parking spaces, and that's more related to the west side of the building. Next slide, please. So in this diagram, we're showing a heavy single unit truck. So this is the critical design vehicle. And so we can see on the top part of the graphic an inbound maneuver. So a vehicle coming, a larger vehicle traveling westbound on Don Hillock Drive and making the right turn into the site, and the outbound maneuver on the left side of the graphic. And the bottom shows the same thing. The only difference is the vehicle, the HSU vehicle, would be making an eastbound left turn from Don Hillock Drive and a southbound left turn from the west driveway. Next graphic, please. And in this graphic, we show the HSU vehicle entering and exiting the loading spaces on the west side of the building. And there's no conflicts. Next graphic, please. In this graphic, we show the circulation of a garbage truck. so the garbage truck would, it shows the inbound maneuver on the left side and the outbound maneuver on the right side, and there's no projected conflicts. And the last slide, next slide, please. So in this figure, we've outlined the fire route meeting the Ontario Building Code requirements. So there are two tests that two requirements that we were looking at, that it's 6 meters throughout, and that the center line turning radius is 12 meters. And so that concludes my presentation, and I hope it answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, David. You actually answered all my questions. I was going to ask a lot of questions about reversing and so on, and you've answered all of my questions. But there's only one thing which I want to comment, if you don't mind, but it's just a comment. I know it's a minor, is that the even on the one on the west side, if you look at the diagram, basically it's actually 6.5 meters. It's not 7 meters. So basically, the whole route, if you're talking about 7 meters, doesn't meet the 7 meters. The whole round route. If you look at the bottom of the exit, where the downhill drive, you have the measurement there, 6.5. And you can see this the 7, which comes from a line from a state line going, it goes to the curb, it goes to that sort of so it's not really 7 meters. So the whole thing doesn't meet 7 meters. Basically, the east part, the west part, you have got 6.5, maybe a little bit of 7 inside there, but again it nips on a larger vehicle. The HSU vehicle, it nips a little bit, but it's okay because it's one way. Your sprint is one way, and that is good just for reversing. So I have no issue. But I thought of just commenting on that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do want to provide a clarification on that. The actual driving aisles are the north one and the west one. They are 7 meters. The driveway is 6.5 meters. That's where the difference is. And and this is where it's a little bit tricky. We actually, in our first submission, so this came from our response to comments. In our first submission, we had a slightly wider driveway, but then it wouldn't comply with the actual bylaw because it's a little bit of a tricky conflict in the bylaw. So the maximum driveway width is actually 6.5 meters, but the driving aisle is 7. So you are correct that the driveway is narrower than the aisle.
Yeah, I understand. It's minor. I understand. This is what I do every day, so that's why maybe I went deep into looking at these things. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Yeah, David, you've pretty much answered every question. You've also enlightened me. My main concern, not concern, but point of interest was the parking space at the top right corner or northeast corner. I was wondering why create an impedance there, as the larger vehicles, it could cause a little bit of delay or issues there. And the fact that it is a town requirement in order to make the spacing makes it a little bit funny as a the cause of the issue. But you don't foresee in your, because your HSU simulations only showed the exiting. Have you done, I'm sure you have, you don't have any concerns at the top cornering on the north end, making the giant U in order to go and go get to the service bays? You don't foresee any issues up there on the north side, whether it be the east side or the west side?
Through you, Mr. Chair, No, I don't foresee any issues, and I agree. It's it's not that parking spot on the northeast corner. It's not the ideal location. It was more of a afterthought to kind of like meet the bylaw requirements, and parking lots are not usually not fully utilized. So I doubt that too many people will be choosing to park there unless the lot is full. Or
Yeah, maybe a little traffic cone or something there would help. I didn't say that. So no, I don't have any. I don't have any further questions. The presentation that you just made, I guess similarly to David, answered my questions. With that said, I'll move unless Brendan, Stephen, sorry, Brandon, David, not to bring up any other items, but if it's an item that's already been discussed, do you have any final comments, questions? Nope, perfect. Okay, David, Linda, I'll move it to you. Do you have a motion that you would like to bring forward regarding this minor variance? Linda, please go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. I move to approve MV-2022-47 32 Don Hillock Drive be approved for minor variance as indicated in the staff report, subject to the condition in Appendix A.
Thank you very much. David, do you second?
Yes, I second.
Thank you. All in favor? Excellent. The motion carries. So Brendan, David, thank you very much. Great presentation. The motion carried as you saw. So I thank you for your time, and it is a little late, but enjoy the rest of your evening and the upcoming weekend.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Dave,
Yeah,
Oh,
through the chair,
this-
just a comment that this is the type of auto train we need to be having when we're talking about maneuvering, showing all the
Right.
reverse and so on. So we
Yeah.
encourage you, for any projects you're going to have in future, please show this is very clear, the maneuvering, the reversing, and so on. Even that tight spot on the northeast was my concern, but you demonstrated how it's going to reverse and that's going to move. That was fantastic.
Yeah, extremely informative. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing like a good simulation. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. So we do have one point of order, just a clarity, just the wrong number was mentioned on item 6.4, which is MV-2022-42. This is a motion that was brought forward by Linda. Linda, it was noted that when you articulated the minor variance for approval, you had mentioned 43 Hawthorne Lane as opposed to 23. I will state, and I will ask you to confirm that the minor variance that you, or the motion that you brought forward for minor variance 2022-42 was for 23 Hawthorne Lane as per the agenda and as per the application, not 43 as it was indicated to me that was stated. Is this correct?
That is correct. That was a typo on my part.
Thank you very much. So please let it be noted that the motion for MV-2022-42 was for 23 Hawthorne Lane, not for 43 Hawthorne Lane, which might have been stated earlier here today. All right, with that said, we'll move to new business. I'll ask my colleagues if they have any new business they would like to bring forward. Yes, David, please go ahead.
No business, but
Oh. So, David, did I miss something?
no, I thought, no, I have no business. I
Oh,
thought maybe
okay.
it's adjournment. I thought maybe it's adjournment.
Oh, no, that's next. So if there is no new business, I move for a motion for adjournment. Let's see that hand again, David. There it
There you
is. All right. So with that, we are adjourned.
Sorry, I was one step ahead.
Yeah, you're already ahead.